Good evening, everybody. We'll go straight to the Ein Yaakov today. We are holding in Rabbi Metzia, and we're going to speak about Rabbi Ben Nachmani's death. Who was he and how he passed away? So Rav Kahana said is actually also associated with this week Parsha Metzia Rabbah. Rav Kahana said, I was told by Rabbi Chama, the son of Chasa's daughter, that Rabbi Ben Nachmani died as a result of fright of government agents. He was running away from government agents who were chasing him. This is the story. Thousands of people used to gather at the great yeshivas in the month of Nisan and Tishrei. Twice a year, 1,000 people used to gather to listen to Rabbi Ben Nachmani. They would listen to his lectures. Twice a year, 2,000 altogether, 2,000 people. So, what was he lecturing about? About the holiday, about the Yom Tov. So since the householder were away from home attending lectures, the agents of the tax bureau were unable to collect the monthly installment of taxes. So because the owners were away. They're out of business during the month of Tishrei and the month of Nisan. So certain informers denounced Rabbi Ben Nachmani to the government, saying, there's one man among the Jews who prevents 12,000 Jews from paying taxes. So 1 month in the spring and 1 month in the fall, when he gives his lecture. That's what the informers were saying. So a royal officer was dispatched to arrest Rabbi Ben Nachmani. That's what we call a bounty, right? The bounty guy. So, but he could not find him. So Rabbi Nachmani, meanwhile, ran away from Pumbedita to Accra, from Accra to Agma, from Agma to Sechin, from Sechin to Tzarifa, from Tzarifa to Eina Damya, and from Eina Damya back to Pumbedita. So he made a big, long circle to run away from the agents, from the government agents. So in Pumbedisa, the royal officer found him. For by chance, he stayed at the same inn where Rabbah was hiding. So the waiters put a tray before the officer, poured him 2 glasses of wine, and then took away the tray. So they gave him 2 glasses of wine, took away the tray. During the time of the Gemara, there were demons that were provoked when certain things were done in pairs. You do certain things in pairs, you're waking up the demons. So by serving the officer 2 drinks, the innkeeper unintentionally aroused the ire of the demons and placed them in danger. So look what happened to the officers. Suddenly the officer's face turned backward. Terrified. So the waiters said to Abba, what shall we do with this guy? He is a royal officer, and maybe we will be held responsible. And we may be held responsible. So replied Rava, bring back the tray that you served them, and let him drink 1 more glass. Then take away the tray, and he will be cured. And this is what happened. They did exactly what Rabbah told them to do, and the officer was cured. I know, said the officer, that the person I'm looking for is right here. He obviously realized he has Rabbah. He searched for him and found him. He then said, I will go away from here. If I go away from here, I will go away from here. If they kill me, I will not reveal where he is. But if they are going to torture me, I will tell them. So he already knows he's not going to be able to handle torturing.
Yeah.
So they brought Rabbi Nachmani before him, and he led him into a chamber and locked the door. Okay, so Rabbi Nachmani prayed for mercy, whereupon the walls of the chamber caved in, and he fled to Agma again. Came from Agma and I went back from Pumbedisa to Agma. He sat down on a stump of fallen palm tree and began to learn Torah. This is what he saw in a dream. There was a dispute in the yeshiva of heaven, a dispute about leprosy. Hashem, the heavenly academy said one thing and Hashem said something else. This is what he saw in the dream. There was a dispute in the yeshiva of heaven about the signs of leprosy. Right? The Torah tells us what is the signs of leprosy. So, if someone develops baheres, a shiny spot, he has to show the shiny spot to the Kohen,
right,
on the skin. He is then quarantined, which will sound familiar for now. He is then quarantined for 7 days. After the 7 days, if the hair on the shiny spot turns white, he is declared tameh. He has leprosy. If the hair was white before the shiny spot appeared, he already had white hair before the shiny spot appeared, it is not sign of uncleanliness. It's not a sign of impurity or tzaras. What happens if we're not sure when the hair turned white? Maybe it turned white before the shiny spot appeared, or maybe the shiny spot appeared before the hair. How do we know? This was the question being debated. In a case that we don't know, a case of a doubt. So the Holy One, blessed be He, said, is toher. In a case of a doubt, if the white hair came before the spot or the spot came before, is toher. That's what Hashem said. But the entire yeshiva of heaven ruled is tameh, is unclean. So they said, okay, we have a dispute. It's very nice that you are Hashem and we are the yeshiva, but we need to know, we still want to have a third to decide. We need to have a third guy to decide what's the law. So it was decided, let Rabbah Bar Nachmani decide. The guy who's sitting on the stump of the tree, let him decide who is right, the heavenly academy, or God Himself. For he said, I'm the about Rabbi Menashe said about himself, I'm the sole person that is an expert on the laws of Negoim and Oiholos, which is the laws dealing with the tumah of a dead human being and the tumah, the impurity caused by tzarat, by leprosy. So they sent the angel of death for Rabbi Nachmani to bring him to rule in the heavenly academy. So, but he could not come near the angel of death could not come close to Rabbi Nachmani. Why? Because he was learning Torah.
Right,
but he could not come near him because he did not stop learning even for an instant. So what are you going to do with him? And when a person is learning Torah, the angel of death has no power over him. Meanwhile, a wind blew and the reeds began to stir. Rabbi Nachmani thought that a company of soldiers was coming to arrest him. So he said, I would rather die than fall into the hands of the government. This momentary distraction gave the angel of death the opportunity to seize Rabbi Nachmani, and as he was dying, he said, in regard to the dispute in heaven, Taho, he said like Hashem. This person, we were not sure whether the shiny spot came before the white hair or the white hair came before the shiny spot, he said Taho. That was the ruling of Rabbi Nachmani against the heavenly academy, but just like Hashem, like the opinion of God. So thereupon a heavenly voice came forth and declared, fortunate are you, Rabbi Nachmani, your body is pure and your soul has left your body in purity. A message came down from heaven to Pumbedisa, the city where Rabbi Nachmani was Rosh Yeshiva. It read, Rabbi Nachmani has gone up to the Yeshiva of heaven. So Abaye and Rava and all Torah scholars went to prepare him for burial, but they could not find his remains. So they went to Agma and saw a swarm of birds forming a shade with their wings to protect something. So they said, that must be the place. So they eulogized him for 3 days and 3 nights. Imagine, eulogy for 3 days and 3 nights. Another message came down from heaven. Any person that leaves now will be put under a ban, meaning that your eulogy is not sufficient. For he has not been eulogized sufficiently. So they eulogized him for an additional 7 days. This time a message came down from heaven. Now you may return, Abaye and Rava, you may go home. On the day that Rabbi Nachmani died, a hurricane blew up that lifted an Arab who was riding on his camel and carried him from one side of the river to the other side. What is happening here? The Arab wondered. Rabbi Nachmani has died, they told him. So he said, Master of the universe, the whole world is yours, and Rabbi Nachmani, Rabbi the son of Nachmani, is yours. You love Rabbi, and Rabbi loves you. Then why are you destroying the world? You love Rabbi, Rabbi loves you, but why are you destroying the world? So when he said this, the hurricane settled down. Rabbi Shimon Chalafta was obese. One day he felt very hot, so he sat on the peak of a mountain, which is a little bit off the subject, but the Gemara brings it. On the same conversation, Rabbi Shimon Chalafta was obese. One day he felt very hot, so he sat on the peak of the mountain and said to his daughter, Daughter, dear, please fan me a little bit, and I will give you some fragrant spices. He asked his daughter to be the fan. As he was talking, a cool breeze began to blow. So he said, how many pounds of spices do I owe the Master of the universe? This really the point of telling us, if we would appreciate everything that Hashem is doing for us, we realize how much are we indebted to our Father in heaven. Bruchim Tiyu. See you, God willing, tomorrow around 6 o'clock with the Hasidus class.
Wednesday, the rabbi's not on.